Okay, I know I wasn't gonna do this. I mustn't start other shit, but I couldn't help it. I've got to. I haven't had my Jaguar fixed today, so I'm gonna open this packet up and see what I've got inside here for this carburetor rebuild. I wonder if well, there's 3 of my YouTubers who excuse me, subscribe to my channel are XK8 nuts. This towel is probably driving you nuts if you look at the state of it. I can't remember where the hell I got this. I got it a long time ago, and I've always loved it, and I used it to death, and then of course it split because you use shit, it wears out. If anybody knows where I can get another one of these towels, please let me know, because I really would love to get another one. Oh, and or one with the Mark II Jaguar on it. Okay, let's just open up this kit now. Oh, and by the way, I didn't mention their names, did I? John, as in tothegarage.co.uk, Gary Van Remortel, and also a German friend of mine in, he's near the Baltic Sea, and he sent me pictures and the sea's frozen, fucking cold. Udo, shout out to you, buddies. I know there's more of you out there. Tony Collingridge, I think. Some guys that regularly comment and help me and enjoy my videos, or at least I hope they enjoy them. Well, they're still watching, so I can only assume you are. And if you're not enjoying them and you're watching them, there's something very wrong with you. Okay, let's see what we have. Ooh, a nice shaft. We all like a good shaft. I see 1 screw, 2 screws, and oh, a little pin there. Okay, yeah, that's to go. Okay, I know where that's to go. That shaft is extremely long. Boy, am I going to have to cut that fucker down. All right. Some decent gaskets. A little less U printed on them. You can see they're much thicker, just as Monty Python would say. So they're looking rather nice. A nice diaphragm that is supple. Oh, I like a supple diaphragm, don't you, dear? That's what my wife said last night. And the gasket for the vacuum. And what else we got here? That's open there. There's nothing missing. Okay, so yes, this is for the starter carburetor, and I think it was Tony, and if I'm giving credit where it's not due, then don't take it, Tony, but someone suggested that prior to installing these washers, you soak them in boiling water. Now, this is not something I have done in the past, ever, Your Honour. And I've not had an issue, but it seems like a very good idea. So I'm going to do it, and you soak these in boiling water. It makes them supple, and then you fit them and obviously tighten up the nuts. And there's a good reason for that, because you want your nuts to be tight. And then because they're soft and pliable, they seal better. So I'm definitely going to give that a shot. Oh yes, okay, so I was going to say, damn it, there's only 1 spring. Of course there's only 1 spring. This is a kit for 1 carburetor. The other kit has it. And don't forget these special little washers here. They go on the top of the float bowl. And in there are instructions, which is always helpful. These, I know from past experience, these ones, you have to make sure you locate them properly. And I tend to do it with the shaft in there. That way they slide in nice and easy. And we all like it to slide in nice and easy. And did you say that out loud? You are such a dirty little boy. And then prior to these going in, you have these seals here that go over the shaft. They actually form the seal, and then these just kind of retain everything. You've got this washer here for, I think it's the throttle stop screw, if I'm correct. And the other washers for banjo bolts, etc. And a very comprehensive kit, instructions. Now, you know, guys, we don't read instructions, do we? Because we know everything. Yeah, I mean, I've done it a lot of times, so I will not necessarily refer to it a lot, but that doesn't mean I won't refer to it, because I'm an old fuck. I forget shit. You know, was that 2 turns, 2.5 turns, 1 turn, 2.25 turns, or how many turns do I do? You know, and things that, oh, hang on, yeah, they're setting the float chamber here. Oh, was that a 9/16 or a 24/64 or a what the fuck was it? Drill bit that I have to use. Well, it tells you right here, it's a 7/16 diameter bar, which of course means a 7/16 diameter drill, because not many of us have a 7/16 bar, but we do have a 7/16 drill. And that's just for setting the float level. And it's an important thing to do, so you need to make sure you do that. Okay, you know, and it shows you how to locate the needle. Yeah, okay, I know I've done it so many times, but it does no harm to double check, just in case it's changed slightly for whatever reason. It probably wouldn't change, but you know, you want to make sure you do it right. And I don't know about you guys, but you know, when there's instructions like this, I don't mind sitting and reading it. I know better than the instructions, of course I do, which is why I fuck up things. But it's handy, it's useful. I believe, let me just check here. A second. Yeah, I am correct. It's all in English. It doesn't need to be in any other language. If you're working on an SU carburetor, it's an English carburetor, so you should know how to put it together in English. If not, well, I'm sorry. That's not how it should be. This is an SU carburetor. It is an English carburetor, and most Americans can understand English, although they do have some strange ways of pronouncing tomato, potato, and that funny little place called Arkansas. They seem to think it goes Arkansas. You can saw what? If it's Kansas and you put AR in front of it, it's Arkansas. Surely. And then you have Illinois or Illinois. And that's another strange one. It's very odd. If you're talking about a place called Wilmington, and I discovered this purely when my brother was living in Wilmington, Delaware, I thought, oh, let's have a look at America, Wilmington. I think it was 23 of the fuckers. So, very strange country this, but I love it. All right, now it's time to start putting it together. Break out the kit, break out the scissors, break out the dancing girls, and off we go. Okay, I have to say, and this is something I didn't realise initially, I'm kind of disappointed with the rebuild kits. Pourquoi, you may say, or even why? Well, this lifting pin, there's a seal on it. The rebuild kit doesn't come with it. How fucking stupid is that? It's just a little rubber seal. So, I mean, I'll make one. I did that on the other carburetors. I'll make one. It's not a huge deal, but doesn't come with a new needle. They give you a new, I don't know what you want to call it, diaphragm. Sorry, diaphragm. I do know what I want to call it. And these needles are okay. Fortunately, they're okay. They're not worn. But I just don't understand why you would send out a rebuild kit and it wouldn't have needles in it. That's just ripping you off. So now you have to buy the needles separately if you want to replace them. Mr. SU, I mean, I love your product. I love the SU carburetor, but this is crazy. And also the shaft here. You know, whilst I said, yeah, it's nice and long, it is. It's about 1 inch too long, so now I have to cut it. You're not telling me you can't build a carburetor kit with the correct length shaft. It's just lazy manufacturing in my book. I'm sorry. I really do pull my hair out at these car parts people, car designers as well. It's frustrating. It's very frustrating to have to constantly work around their laziness. And that is the only way I can describe it, is they're just being extremely lazy or extremely cheap or trying to rip you off. I mean, put in the damn kit and charge extra. Sorry. On a bit of a soapbox one there, because that just pisses me off. It really does. I didn't realise it wouldn't come with a new needle. I thought I was going to get a nice new needle too. Okay, the needle that I've got is fine, but yeah, you can tell I'm a little bit pissed. Thanks, Mr. Berlin. Okay, time to get on with the rebuild. As you will recall, I bitched that they don't supply the seal for in here, so I'm going to have to make one. First, what we need to do is get this little clip out, which of course is a panis sinus rectimus. Okay, now there is a spring on there, so you have to be careful. Don't lose the spring or the clip. Now, just going to get that washer out. And there's the washer. You don't want to lose that. Oh wow. Well, supposedly this had been rebuilt. Does it need a seal there? Well, probably not, but it's inside the vacuum chamber here, or what you want to call the vacuum chamber. So when you push it up, if there's not a seal there, it's going to let air in, and I just don't think that's right. So you have to make them up. Now I've got a big sheet here of a wubber. I think I got it from eBay, and I'm going to make them. And there are various tools required to make them. First, I've got to figure out one that's the right size punch. That looks about right. So let's start with making the new piece, the new seal. Okay, now let's just check, because I'm not sure if this is the right size for what I need. Yeah, I could probably get away with that. There's my little sharp scissors. I've got a little bit of an edge on there that didn't quite punch through. Need to get myself a new set of punches, if one is brutally honest. Hello, my name's Brutally Frank. Seeing as it's rubber, and that should squeeze in there nicely. Now the other tool you're going to need is this one, another hole puncher. This is on there. Give it a squeeze. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. We got a seal that is off centre. So we're going to do that again. Here we are. In fact, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down a size. Let's see what this one says size-wise. Yeah, I think that's going to be better. Let's see. Hole puncture. Get it central. Give it a squeeze. It's a fiddly ass job, this. Alright, so now I have a nice new washer. So what I can do is I can push the pin up and through mit der Springen, slip over the rubber seal, put the washer on, and then the curse clip. Yes, Sir Clip. Arise, Sir Clip. Ooh, that's tough. In fact, that missed. Ha ha ha. This hurts the fingers, I can tell you that. Alright. Let's try again, shall we? Click, click. Come on, click a little further. You need to go on just a little bit more. Still not in the right place. Let me see if I can push it on with my screwdriver. Oh, the little bugger. As always, sorry if you're seeing the top of my head. We're there. I think we're there. So we now have a nice new rubber seal on there, and that'll work fine. Right, next, let's get this one done. Don't worry about counting how many turns. We're going to have to make adjustments on this anyway. What you will need to know is when you're putting it back in. Okay, see? Copper washer, rubber seal. Yep. Looks like the kit doesn't come with the washer, just the rubber seal. So we'll have to make do with that. These seals aren't too bad, I must admit. Don't like to, but I will. Let's get this seal out of here. Aha, they probably won't really use that seal, I guess. He cried. Oop, that's the old one, keep that out of the way. This is the new one. So what we can do is we can slip that on there. Oops, sorry. Slip that on. Then slip on this seal. Roll it on up. Going to be tight. So now we need to put this back in here. I did note that the surface was clean. Now we screw this in all the way. And once we get that in, and it's there, you see, you got to watch this because you're squeezing in that washer. Got to make sure this thing bottoms out. Okay, that's bottomed out now. So now what we need to do is to bring that one up 3.5 turns. Okay. So we say half, 1, half, 2, half, 3.5. Doesn't have to be spot on, just as close. All right, next is to remove the throttle butterfly. And we have replacement screws, so we don't care about these. Just unscrew the butterfly screws, the scruttercry flues. Let's keep things to one side and out of the way of the new stuff. These butterflies, I think it's safe to say, have never been replaced. Although it was told that the carburetors have been rebuilt, I think that was a very skimpy rebuild. Alright, now turn this and you should be able to pull the plate out. Do note I said should. Ain't easy, I'll tell you that right now. And especially if it twists. Gotta make sure you bring it out straight and don't let it twist. Alright, yeah, look at the state of that. There is no way that has ever been replaced. Now the shaft should pull out. Okay, I got my shaft out, so call the wife in. Okay, now what I've got to do is knock this pin out, and then I must make sure I drill this correctly. And there's a little method in madness on how we make sure we get this in the right place, and I'll show you that. But first, what I will need to do is get the seals replaced and get the new shaft in. Give me a second, I'll be right back. Right, next little piece is to, well, I pulled the shaft out, pulled out my Johnny shaft, and the cork seal, this tells me that these are probably original or an original rebuild kit. This one does seem to have still some flex in it, but cork seals are not what they use. This is what they use now, a nice neoprene seal. And the reason they do that is because of this bloody ethanol shit they put in the cars these days. Oh, sorry, not the cars, in the gasoline. So let's see if I can hook out the one on this side. I'll try with a normal spike and see. We might get it. Let's see. And I don't care about this. We're not putting this back in, so you don't have to worry about it. It's coming up. As the Paul McCartney song said, coming up. Just work it out slowly, like the mathematician did who was constipated and he worked it out with a pencil. Okay, there we go. So there it is, a little brass ring, which is now totally cattle trucked. There's a little spring there. Again, we're not going to need any of these. And then finally, what is left of, oh dear, that one's rock hard. Oh, I can't move that one. Oh, and there's another washer there, by the way. And that, yeah, that one's not so good. Not terrible, but just not so good. Okay, so now they're out. Next thing I need to do is to get the shaft in there and put the seal in. And what I like to do is I like to grease them, lubricate them, because I have to take the shaft in and out a few times. It's what the wife insists I do. Because if you look at the shaft, the new shaft and the old shaft, the new shaft's bigger. These new young shafts are such big. And also I got to get these lined up too. So I may, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're going to push in or whether I'm going to have to drill this out to get them into the right place. So we'll see. I may not need to put these bushes in unless, of course, they've made these shafts thinner. Let's have a quick look before we go on to the next phase. Tell you what, that is good. That is good. The movement there is fractional. So what that means is I won't need to use these sleeves. And if I did, I would have had to drill out in here. But with these guides and these new seals, that will be good. That's excellent. Good. That's good news. So now what I need to do is put in the butterfly, don't flutter by, wait for me. All right, okay, I'll shut up. And yes, I know I haven't cleaned it in here yet. I'm going to do that, I promise. I do promise, I promise. Oops, got that wrong, haven't I? Turn that over there. Now I'll put that in. Oh, I tell you, they're so fucking bitchy, these things. Now what I may do, I'm not sure yet, I'm going to see how this goes. Sorry guys, you're getting the top of my head. No, you probably can't see a great deal. Just let me get it lined up and then I'll show you. Of course it moves. Alright, I'm going to have to hold this with my finger because I don't want it to move. So you see now I've got the holes lined up perfectly and the shaft is longer out one side than it is the other. So then you grab this shaft and you say, okay, so which side do I need the length? Is it that side or is it that side? And looking at it, it's a pisser. I got to trim both sides, because if I put it that way around, I'm about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch too long. I've never had that complaint. And if I choose this side, I'm about 1/4 of an inch too long. Again, never had that complaint. I've had a complaint that it was too long, but not by those small amounts. So I'm going to have to trim this shaft off, which is a bit of a bugger. And also, once I've got it sorted, I need to make sure that I get the stop in the right place. And this is the way it goes around, and the stop hits this little ledge here. It hits that ledge there. And that is all part and parcel of... Where's the other piece gone? Oh, it's over here. Here. We have to make sure that we get that set right. Okay. Not going to show you me cutting the shaft. That's pretty elementary, my dear Watson. What I am going to do is, as I said, I might mention it. I'm going to use the old screws in here. And the only reason I'm going to do that is because I don't want to bugger up the new ones. The old ones are now squash flat. So they will go in there nicely because they are the same thread. but because I'm taking them in and out a lot, I don't want to use the new screws. I want to save those for the last moment of assembly. You do what you want. This is the way I like to do it. If I can get the damn thing to go in the hole. And again, that's what I said last night. Come on, there's a choice of 3. Pick one. Okay. I'm pushing that flat. Great. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pin, punch it out. Once I've got that pin punched out, then I'll take this piece, slide it over the shaft, this end here, and then I'll place a washer. No, I won't use one of those. But you place a washer underneath this piece and there, and I will show you that. And that's just so that you make sure you get the hole in the right place. Okay. And there we are. That is correct. Just checking that to make sure. All right. So give me a second and we'll be right back. Next thing we need to do is take this off, loosen this, take that off, because now we need to punch out this pin. And you see it's got, I don't know if you can see it, but there's 2 little nicky-nacky noos there, small holes. So you need to punch it out the other way. Oh, and to undo these, you're looking at 5/16 one end and 1/4 the other. And you will need a decent punch of the correct size to get this out. I do happen to have said punch. So whilst you stare at that, I'm just going to punch this out. And that's the reason I took these off, so that I could punch this out without damaging the little thingy. Don't go away. I'll be right back, I promise. It's a little tricky. I'll line it up properly. And with the correct size punch out the pin, put it out and put it in the pile of shit. So you can see now which way on it goes. Looks like I'm going to have to persuade it to come off. Got to be careful with this little baby. There she blows. And now what you do is you slide this on. Here's a little trick. You grab your washer, place the washer here. No, that washer's too thick. Damn it. Alright. You've got to make sure you keep that shut. And this goes on here. This is called the throttle stop. So when you turn it, it only comes open so far. Okay, so there you go. And it's got to stay at the correct, what should we say, side, because when you open it and it's got a good airflow, then when you close it, you want it to stop at the right point. Okay, all right, so let me see if I can explain that better. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can demonstrate this better. The throttle now is closed. So when the throttle is fully open, and that's in the level position, so that you know, it's dead straight. You don't want it to be going past, because then you're starting to close, and that's no good. So what this piece does is it hits the underside of the carburetor body here and prevents it. So you've got to make sure you get it in the right position. So holding that in the correct position with this piece touching here, you know you're in the right position. Also, one other thing, you don't want it pushed in too far, because otherwise it'll rub up against the body of the carb. So you just want to pull it out a little bit, make sure that throttle is in the mid position, holding that on there, and then you got to drill it. The trick is to actually get this held in the right position, and I tend to do it with a pair of grips that holds that in the correct position, and I have to do it visually, check the throttle body here is in the right position, and then I drill through there, which is what I'm about to do. Now, also noting that, oh, excuse me, I need to allow enough shaft, and I'm looking at this saying there isn't enough shaft there, which means I have to reverse this throttle shaft, cause there's more here than I need and there's not enough here. So that's one of the things you got to be careful of before you start drilling shit. So I've got to take this out and turn it around and put it back in again. And that is what the wife likes. So let me do that. Right, I was kind of off a kilter a bit with the washer thing, because I'm working on different carburetors. On the E-type carburetors, it's different to this particular carburetor. The washer on this one, you place it here. Now, it is extremely important that you use a thin washer, you just want enough to pull this piece away so that it doesn't rub up against the seal that's going to be in here. So you don't want it too thick, otherwise this piece won't touch here. And it's all held into place with these grips. So that's all held in position with these grips. The washer is there, and as I said, you must remember to take that off before you put the pin through. Now, I've got to drill the hole yet. The other thing you do is you check that this is now in the fully open position. You don't want it like this, you don't want it like this. You must get it in the right position, which is perfectly level. Okay? Nice and easy. And the drill you're going to use, oops, hang on a second, is a 7/64 little drill. And you're just going to drill a hole right through here, and you're going to keep that fucker as straight as you can, and then you will drive the pin in, and once you've got that pin in, then you're good to go. But as I've said, and I've got to stress this because otherwise you're going to kick your ass, take that washer out, get all the seals in, which is the thing that I'm going to do. But prior to that, I will be trimming this shaft off on both sides, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. It's kind of weird the way I got to do it. Sorry about those little hiccups there with me chopping and changing, but my wife brought me something out to the garage. Butter popcorn. I mean, who could ask for a better wife? She brings you out buttered popcorn whilst you're working in the garage. That, and I got my gin and tonic there. I've got my car piece here. I'm set. Well, not quite, because next I'm going to show you, well, I'm not going to show you me drilling a hole, duh, but I will show you me cutting the shaft, because the way I do it is, I know it's pretty unusual. I don't have a lathe. I want to make it straight. Oh, and do note these soft jaws. They are a must when you're working on carburetors. They weren't very expensive. Can't remember what I paid for them, but they're great because they can hold that solidly without any damage whatsoever. All right, let me get my hole drilled and then pull my shaft out. And once I've got my shaft out, I'm going to trim it off, and I'll just show you the way I'm going to do it, which is up to you whether you decide to do it that way or not. Now, by putting the drill bit through the two shafts, I now know I've got it all in the correct position. So now what I can do is I can mark it off here, mark it off at the other end, and that's where I want to make my cuts. Now, if like me, most of you don't have a lathe, you need to figure out a way to cut this off as neat as possible. Now, you know, grab your trusty hacksaw and start backwards and forwards, but it doesn't keep it kind of straight. So I put it in the drill bit here, and I'm going to keep the hacksaw still and spin the rod. So make sure it's good and tight. The drill is in reverse because you want to make sure, because of the teeth on the blade. Look at that, it's come a little bit loose in the drill chuck, so make sure that is tight. Oh, I wish we had a proper chuck instead of these hand tightening pieces of shit. And there, the end is now cut off. Just need to clean this up with a file, and we're done. I can now put this in. As you see, it's not terrible. It's relatively, what's the word? Right angles. So now I just got to clean this up, and now I can fit it into the carburetor. Clever or stupid? You make your mind up. I've kind of jumped ahead here, and I'm sorry about that. I got the butterfly in and just nipped the screws up, just nip them up a bit, and then check it up against the light to make sure it's sealed properly, and it has, so that's good. Next, we need to put these little rubber seals in, and they go in with the angle that way, okay? So let's slip this one on, push it in the hole, do the same on the other side, facing inwards of course, push it in. Now I'm going to just use the edge of the screwdriver just to push the seal down to get it to where it needs to be to create the seal. Ow, ow, ow. I'm not quite sure if that's a seal or a dog. Maybe it's a dog seal. Well, I guess seals are the dogs of the water, aren't they? They're cute and whiskery. Okay. So hopefully that has gone down. Let's push it down. And that one's... Actually, that's a little too big. Let me get the smaller one to push that down. Not sure if this will fit over the shaft. No. Ooh, ah. Ooh, ooh, ah. Need something in between. hope you enjoyed staring at the carburettor then. Oh, it just doesn't quite do it, does it? Close but no cigar. Oh, that one does. Okay, let's push the seal in good and tight. And this one. Okay, now I don't know if it's going to help you. This is a snap-on, what is it? 9mm. So hopefully that helps. Then we place this retainer on there. Just give that a little push. Now you want that to be kind of flush with the top there. So I use this particular socket. Actually, I'm going to change that. I'm sorry. Don't go away. We'll change that for this socket. What is this? 7/16. Why did I change it? Because it'll hit and stop me from taking it in too far. In fact, let me flip it up the other way, then it really will stop me. Where's my little hammer? And there you go. That is perfectly flush now. And as I said, that's a reverse 7/16. Oops. Does help if you actually put the seal there, Gary. Duh. Now let's just get it started. And then tap it in. Hear that sound? That tells me I've got it dead flush, which is absolutely where you want it to be. So that is now perfectly good. Let me just double check. Make sure. Airwise, gap-wise, that's perfect. Now what we need to do is place this on here, line it up, and get the pin through it. Getting the pin in there, I can tell you now, is a shitload of fun. How do I know? I've done this before. Let me get this over to the vise and squeeze it in, and I will be back. Okay, so the shaft is now in. These screws are not set yet. Give me a second and I'll do that and I'll show you. This bar now, as you see, will hit there with this in the fully open position. That's the whole point of it. It's probably fractionally off, but that's not going to make a gnat's cock a difference. All right, what did I say I was going to do next? Oh, I was going to show you how to do these screws. Okay, so what you need to do with these screws is you just give them a pinch, make sure the plate's up and fully flush. What I do is I like to turn them back a little, then put my thumb on there and press that in as I pinch the screw up. Keeping it there, pinch the screw up again. Now, we can spin that. And what we need to do is we need to splay the ends of that screw, because you do not want that going inside the engine. And it's pretty easy to do. Just sometimes you might need to use different tools, as I'm doing now, because the angle is off. In other words, you can't quite get the screwdriver in there. So you need to give it a little pry open, then get your screwdriver in there, just as I'm doing. All right, let's just make sure that's okay. All right, and as you can see, the screws, excuse me, the screws are now splayed open. And let's see how we do for shutting. Look at that, lovely. Lovely sound, that's just what you want. Pop, a clean. Okay, right, next is, let's get the base on, shall we? Get this little beastie on here with this diaphragm. Where's my new diaphragm? There is my new diaphragm. And we slip that in the hole. And we see how good or bad it feels. Feels pretty good. Okay. All right, so now let's get this on, and we'll then put the diaphragm on, because the diaphragm goes through here, obviously. And we've got to find the screws. Excuse me, back in a sec. Right, now let's start assembling this end. First we have this piece that goes on here. Then we have this lovely little diaphragm. Try and keep the holes lined up. Don't forget the spring. I've done that before now. And then of course the actual chamber itself. Making sure to locate the spring. Then get your screws. Okay, just nip them up with your fingers first. There we go. Okay, that's good. That's not going anywhere now. All right. So let's just pinch them up. You don't have to go crazy on these, but obviously you need a bit of tension there. All right, let me get a slightly bigger screwdriver to just clip them off. And here I am, slightly bigger. Oh, the wife wishes that was true. Christ, I got 14 inches. How many does she want? All right, I used to have. Old age, things shrink. Not just to do with the cold. Okay, we are getting there. Next, we will make the adjustment here on this. And what you do is you undo this screw fully until it's level in there. And for that, you need a nice little flat edge. Let me go get one. You can try doing it with the edge of a screwdriver, but that's probably not really good. I've got my good old trusty steel ruler. And you put it in there, and you want that jet to be level, and you use the screw to adjust it to that degree. So you can do it by feel, and as I do it, by view as well as feel. And I take it past where it needs to be, so it disappears. Then I bring it back up again past where it needs to be, so that I know. And I take it back down. I've got it as near as firkin damn it. And this is a judgment call that you will have to make. No one can make this for you. Okay, to me that's spot on. You're still going to be doing a little bit of adjustment when you get it back on the vehicle. So now that is level. Now that it's level, then you have to turn the screw, and I'm sorry, I just cannot remember this off the top of my head. 2.5 turns down. Okay, so we go half, 1, half, 2, half. All right, so now we've got basic settings. That's purely all it is the basic settings. When it's on the car and running, then we use our little vacuum on it, and we try and get it as right as we can. So now we've set this one, we've set this one, we've done everything we can here. We can put the float bowl, the float in, but before we can put the float in, we need to make sure, after replacing the relevant components, that this is set to the right level. So the next job, once we've got this fucker out of the way, is to push this pin out. Yeah, I didn't think I could do it with my fingers, but hell, I'll give it a shot. Nope. Where's me little hammer? Right, we pull the pin out. Put that to one side. Pull the forking thing out. Drop out the, I don't know what you want to call it, needle cutoff. Pick a word that you like. It's pretty gungy, pretty worn. Now we need to get this out. Not sure what size it is. Let me just check. I wonder. Couldn't be, could it? Oh, that's tight. Let me get a decent 5/16. I'll be back. Okay, certainly appears that that is a 5/16. Get that out of the way. Grab your new one. And the new little needle. I don't know what else to call the damn thing. Valve, I guess. Penis enlargement. I don't know. Okay, and screwed in fingers. Always screw with your fingers first. That's how the girls like it. That way you don't cross thread. Believe me, if you cross thread with a girl, you ain't never getting sex again. Okay, that's just biting nicely, or turning nicely. Okay, and let's pump this up. I don't believe it. It's a different size. Those fuckers changed their size. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, what the fuck? Turns out now it's a perfect 9mm. Fucking assholes. So, pinch it up with a 9mm. Sorry, I didn't make it that way. Wasn't me. Then not forgetting to put in the little needle there. Needle naddle new, and then the fork. Fork you too. They do give you a new pin in the kit. Whoop-de-doody. And just slide the pin in without pushing it in too far. You just want to push it in with your finger. Now we need to check the distance here and see whether we need to bend this fork. For that, you use, he says, looking desperately for it, a 7/16 drill that he brought out earlier just for this purpose, and the fucker's hiding. Oh my God. Where did my brain go? There it is. Okay, 7/16 drill bit. And you want it to just slide in and out without the fork going up or forking down. In the middle. Once you get it across both edges. Again, it's a visual judgment call. I don't think this one's too bad. Might need a little adjustment. Let me just see. No, it's and I can look at, and I can see a gap between the drill bit and the fork. So what I'm going to do is just bend it down a little. We'll see. Now I have no clearance. maybe I took it a little too far. That's always the thing that happens, isn't it? Okay, let's bring it back up a tad. Still, what are we doing here? Oh, that's not looking bad. Just a little bit more of adjustment. It's hard to get this just right, but I'll get there. Yeah, there's a gnat's cock in that, so that's good. All right. So now, what I can do is grab a new float. A new float can now go in. Okay, the top can go on, making sure to locate everything perfectly. You then need to get your special washers, and the original bolt here, it's got a little gooby on it, and a pipe. Where's the pipes? Come back. All right, so what we have here is the washer, the pipe, the special washer, and the nut. What the order is this washer goes on the top, goes through there, then it goes onto the aluminum washer, which then screws onto here. Thusly, I am not going to tighten this in any way, shape or form. What I am going to do, so that I don't forget, is take my trusty thrusty little filter here that for some reason whoever previously did it didn't want to put it in. I'm going to slip it in the hole, put in the banjo bolt. I know it's going to come out later, but now I know I've got everything I need. So it's there. Next thing is to put the top on. Now, I've cleaned this up. I have set the needle to the correct position. So that baby can go in there. Just line it up, drop it in. Grab one's new spring. Oh, I'm so glad this customer decided to go for the correct pieces. Okay, new spring, then grabbing one's dashpot top. Again, I've cleaned it all up. Make sure you line everything up properly. Now this will only go on one way, and that is the way there. You grab your 3 little screws, put them in finger tight. We all like nice tight fingers, don't you, girls? Now, final things with this carburetor will not be done until it is actually on the vehicle. But we can bring these screws down, pinch this up. There is a problem, Houston. What? You say there's a problem? How can there be a problem? Because the piston does not want to lift up and down. Ah, there we go. Hear that? That's the kind of noise you want to hear. And let's just pinch these screws up again. Gotta make sure everything moves freely. There we go. That nice clicking sound. All right. Now I'm going to use my big ass motherfucker and just pinch these up. Okay, and there is one other little item that I want to add to this now rebuilt carburetor, and that is these new dash top things. Now, what does disappoint me is they never seem to... Oh, hang on, maybe I'm maligning, hang on. Oh, could be that black washer. Yeah, the black washer there is the one that goes on there. I was going to lie. There's a nice black washer that goes on there. Put that in there. Whew, that's a tight fit, as the actress said to the bishop. And that is almost done. All I've got to do now is put these two pieces back on, and then it's ready for the car. And I'll do the same with the other carburetor. No point in me showing you these go back on. You put them back on the same way you took them off. There it is. Oh, and of course, hang on, sorry. You do have the gaskets here, and you do have the seals for the starter carburetor. Maybe I'll include that a bit later. Not sure. But there you go. I'm going to pump this one out now. I like pumping it out. And I hope you enjoy it, and hope it tickles your fancy, floats your boat, does whatever else it could do for you. So please do like, comment, subscribe, ding ding dong, blah 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 blah, and get out in that garage and do some shit. You've got your baby out there, play with it. It may not be the same as mine, but whatever, have fun. Live today, tomorrow you die.